not killing me. Yeah. Longest sprint ever.
This is like a party, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm doing the 100 miler, I'm eating too much food and admiring the scenery. If you're not here, the only thing missing is beer, right? I mean, you're making a big mistake. You need to be here next year.
Come on, James!
Sorry. Yeah, we're good.
That was the leader.
That was amazing.
He was hauling ass. Come on, Simon. All right, Sarah, good job.
Some water would be awesome. Thank you.
So now that you're also event promoter, you like the hard event racing or you like the promoting side better? You should admit, our event was 2 weeks ago, we were in Vermont. I mean, this was SBT GRVL been on the calendar from the very beginning of the year, and this was absolutely a goal for the year. So, well, you achieved it, brother. We're super proud of it. We're going to talk more on the podium, but he is your inaugural SBT GRVL champion, Mr. Ted King.
thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Mason, can we get a quick word? Second place overall. Nothing to complain about. That's a super finish. Tell us how it went for you out there today.
Oh boy. Hats off to Ted, first of all. He rode a really, really great race. I'm a little disappointed because I just had 5 minutes on the very last climb where
Nice job, Ted. That was an epic ride. Epic.
Leg lock up. Just really bad cramps to the point where I basically had to stop pedaling for a couple minutes. Ted got his gap and then we just sort of drag raced the same distance in. Yeah, boy, that was hard. In hindsight, I probably did a little too much activity in the first 2 hours. Colin Strickland is an incredible competitor and basically just rode with complete reckless abandon. And for some reason, I seem to be the only one that was willing to cover his move. So, yeah,
it's just nice to know that the rest of us mortals that cramp all the time know that you guys on the pro level eventually every now and then might get a few cramps. That's just comforting.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I honestly haven't really cramped all year. Well, that's not true. I cramped at, man, I'm so dead right now. What was the first race? Land Run, where Ted and I also had an amazing battle. Man, I'm losing my voice. But absolute hats off to Ted. He rode for sure an unbelievably strong and smart race.
Well, you did too, brother.
Thank you.
We're going to check with you on the. We get a quick word.
Oh, also one more thing on Colin.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm really bummed. he had a mechanical with an hour to go.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see what happened.
Earlier in the race, but suffered an untimely mechanical at a really critical point. How did that go down?
Right after the last water check that we stopped at, I got a double water chase last time.
Not ideal at all, not at 144 miles. Other than that, a pretty good experience. You enjoy yourself out here today?
Oh, it's beautiful. Everyone was so chill and we all had a good time. That's what I love about these events. We're all, we're just having fun at the front. That's fun suffering together.
Well, you do a lot of suffering, brother. It's some of the biggest events out there. We're really glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Right up. We'll see you on the podium. All right.
We saw you on the gravel descent before the road climb, and it was all together. It was you, Colin, Ted, Payson, and then sort of we didn't see the climb. What happened after that?
Oh, pretty just lights out. Yeah, it was 125 miles in, and yeah, I was having some trouble a little before, and then when the cramps start, and
Nasty way to end it.
Dude, that was horrible.
Coming in here thinking,
And yeah, I mean, when the legs go, it's like they're gone, and we're pretty much going.
Was it the altitude or just the hard race, the group you were
It was
with?
a tough race.
Uh-huh.
Some hard parts throughout the race. A lot of punchy climbs. A lot of surges at high altitude, and and then the altitude. Yeah, going up to 8,500 feet. That just takes burns a book of matches at a time.
Yeah. Man, well, congrats. Go recover. Congratulations on third.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Pretty cooked, man. It's hot.
You didn't overheat, did you?
No,
You ruined
I think I just pushed it too hard.
Hey, you finished right there.
Yeah,
So it paid off.
yeah,
Nice.
it's good.
that it was a very, very tough race all along. Just haymakers being thrown out there all day. When did it break apart? When were you able to separate yourself from the rest of the women's field?
I don't know, like early on, just had to position well into the first climb and hold the wheel, and I guess it got a little bit surgy and I was on and off with the group, but just tried to stay out of the wind until I knew we had to roll. So yeah, it was sick. It was such a good course, and yeah, had a rad time.
Well, and how did the Canyon Grail hold up for you? This is the bike for this type of ride, yeah?
Correct. That's all I can say about the Canyon Grail.
Copy that. You got a lot coming up this week. Are we racing here again later on this week in Colorado?
Yeah, I'm going to do the Colorado Classic, so hopefully I acclimated in just under 7 hours today.
I think you acclimated quite well, young lady. This is your inaugural SBT Gravel Champion.
Thank you.
We'll break it up on the podium a little later, okay? Congrats.
Cheers. I won a cowboy hat. Yes. That was the goal.
Sorry about the bike.
I was like, oh, should we get back? We did it. I was like, oh man. I was like, oh, your teammates. I was like, she would still be here. Lauren. Proud of you. I'm proud of you too. Did Matt ride with you?
We got two in the car.
Oh, yes.
Chris is doing
2.
I know.
Those guys, we were surprised. And then as I saw basically every climb then on the backside, that you and I were back and forth, that they got rid of 2 other guys over the map. Danielson and Ted. Right. Well, and you know, like you and I went back, the climb to the side of
I was with a group. I attacked on the corkscrew, probably about a minute and a half, and then I knew that Cow Creek.
Thank you.
And you have a teammate winning.
Yeah.
So how's the experience out there?
Yeah, I flatted at like 60 miles, so I've been chasing since then. But having Brody up there, you know, it's still good.
Were you able to figure out your time gaps or anything like that?
I was getting a few time gaps from some of the photo trucks out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Just put your head down and go.
Yeah, and then you got to pace yourself out here because it's still 140 miles. That like, if I chase too hard, then I'm just gonna explode and not gonna make it. So.
Anything with the altitude getting to you?
No, I've been here for 2.5 weeks, so I did the proper training and been targeting this race actually. So you know, for Brody to take the win and me to take second, it's a great day.
All right, and third hasn't come in yet, have it?
No, it was really early before we made the first like little lollipop. There was no other women, so
we'll find out together. I guess.
Yeah.
All right,
cool. Thank you.
So did you feel okay early, or?
It felt surprisingly good. I don't know, coming down a bit from the kick.
Right.
What are you doing? No, I mean, I felt good for 5 hours, and then after that far feed zone going that last trip,
Yeah, I saw.
I had about half an hour.
When you and Danielson were off, and then we were with you for a while, just kind of. Then I saw on the Trout Creek when he took off, but then he paid for it.
Yeah, no, he was just getting pissed at me sitting on, but
he paid for it then though coming down because then.
I was like, there's no way I can do it. I had 2 bottoms there.
Right, and it went 1-1.
I'd say yes, it leans more toward the road. Hilly Billy Roubaix leans toward the mountain bikers. You've got events like Rasputitsa, which this year was a little different, but I think generally leans a little bit more toward bike handling. But there were not a lot of turns out there. There was not much technical to really leverage for the mountain bikers.
Was there any point you were unclipping or walking or anything like that? So you could have done.
I thought the course was pretty mellow. Okay. In those regards. Now, if it rained, it would change things entirely. I think it was a great course. I think spicing it up with a couple little sections of dual track or Jeep trail or something that really challenges people, like some barely climbable hill or something like the ski resort over here or a single track at the very end or something, just to spice it up a little, because we had a group of 40 in the middle of the race, which was kind of unheard of. Part of that's because we had such a strong field. The other part of it is that the course, all the climbs are fairly gradual.
Are you happy with your performance today, or?
Oh, I did a good hard race, and I had a good long day. Obviously, Canyon is a sponsor here, one of the title sponsors. So I rocked the Grail here. Grail was incredible. The bike was fantastic, and I went with some 40C tires. Really glad that I selected those because it kept me out of trouble. When you're drafting, you can't really underestimate how easy it is to hit something. So I could get away with smaller tires, but the nice thing is running these bigger tires really gave me a little bit more cushion. And I kind of came unglued about 85 miles in on the big climb. Well, me, Colin, and there was a handful of big attacks, so we all took our turns really trying to shake the race up. I tried like 5 or 6 times to get a break going, and it came back. And maybe I did a little too much work.
I owe you everything. Ow! It's still saving my ride. That's how long it was.
How'd it go out there?
Ouchie. It went out.
We saw you chasing pretty hard.
I just have salt and dirt. Did I get third?
I think so, yeah. Oh. Brody and Lauren came in.
That was a road race.
Was it?
Yeah, no, they were at the
That was a road race.
They were in.
I thought it was going to be more gravel it was like tactical, and I'm not good at that.
Well, their tactic was just staying in the lead and then lead the group as long as possible instead of pacing themselves for the entire race.
Ow! I feel like I was getting stung by bees, but I think it was just my shoulders.
It was like
weird shit happens to your body.
tingling going on the...
It is. My toes hurt.
Awesome. Congrats on third.
Thanks.
You happy?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm really just happy to be done.
You and about 1,500 other people.
Oh, bless you. Oh my God.
Awesome. The bike held up okay? No problem?
The bike was great, honestly, and I'm not like a very technical person, but the future shock thing was dialed.
Saved
like
you?
all the like, yeah. Ew, God, look at, it's just like salt.
That's the result of work right there.
Yeah, that's a good day at the office.
That's a badge of honor. Simon Richardson, GCN. First real big gravel race in the States.
Yeah, 100% the first one.
We saw you on course out there. You're kind of by yourself a little bit between groups.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Well, so it was cool. Like I kind of I got in some good groups for the first, maybe 80 miles or so, and then I went through a bit of a bad patch. I stopped for a bit longer at one of the aid stations and ended up on my own. And actually that was great on the big climb. And then I made a big mistake over the top where I was feeling a bit rough. And so rather than trying to hold the wheel, I let this group go. And then I had this kind of 15-20k descent into a headwind. And I was like, why didn't I do it? You know that feeling where you just think, I could dig a little bit deeper.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so apart from that, I then got in a good group at the end. There was a chap called Rob who was ridiculously strong, and that was much appreciated.
Simon, people are calling this a gravel event for roadies. Do you agree with that?
Well, I definitely think roadies can probably do all right here. When I was in the front group for the first little bit, it did feel very much like a road race. I got those kind of vibes back, but so much more fun because you've got those, like pretty loose sections in between. So if roadies turn up, they better have some skills, I think. Yeah. Otherwise, they'll probably find themselves in a hedge within 30k.
And then what are your thoughts on the winner, Ted King? He's come second at BWR and Dirty Kansas, and he wins this.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's pretty cool. Like, he was looking super composed, very relaxed, in that first little bit. It would have been difficult to tell who was the strongest out of everyone, but at that point. But I'm not surprised to hear that he took the win.
All right. Well, congrats to you.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
You want. I got all the time in the world.
Ted King, congratulations on winning SBT Gravel.
Thank you very much.
I feel like we've covered the last 3 or 4 gravel races. Is this a bit of redemption for DK and BWR?
I am not upset to take this win. BWR was a tough one. DK, I went in with high hopes as a reigning champ, and I just got my doors blown off there. So, a hitter crowd, beautiful course, really long, hard race, 140 miles. Altitude is a huge bear. So I'm stoked with how it turned out. I'm really happy with it.
Was there any point on the course where you knew, okay, I've got this? It's down to just you and a few others? And
a little of both. Early in the race, I felt really, really good. Altitude generally kicks my ass. Came out here for Leadville. Felt like crap for the whole week, and about 2 days ago, to be honest, I think a huge part of it is my bike arrived broken, so then we were doing some huge scrambling with Cannondale, with Zip, with Cork to get a bike that was going to be functioning. Trying to play the patient game, make sure it arrived on time. It did. Huge props to those guys. As a result, I ended up resting quite a bit here at altitude. Early in the race felt great, and then coming down to the final hitters, it was Colin, it was Payson, it was Jacob, it was me. Those are the top 4. Basically, you'd expect that 4 at the finish, and through a series of events like me feeling good, I'm stoked to take the win.
At what point were you not friends anymore on the course?
We went through the final feed zone. That was 116. I think a handful of miles later, Colin had a flat. We're doing group consensus, and we're like, all right, we're gonna roll slow tempo. If he can catch us, great. But we're in the heat of the race right now. Going into the final 2 super steep pitches. Jacob, super strong ride, but he's just like, see you guys later. So then it was me and Payson going into the final pitch. Payson cramped like a mofo, and I just felt great. And I'm like, Sorry, this is my move.
All right, well, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you at the next gravel event, I'm sure.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Comes Virginia. Nice job, Virginia. Mark Meadows coming along.
With Colin Strickland, recent winner of Dirty Kansas, now at SBT 2019. Tell us how your race went today.
Oh, it started very cold. It's very cold up here in the mornings. We had a nice, big, strong field, so made a spicy. Whole first half of the race was pretty kind of neutral because we would put in moves, but there were enough strong guys to just shut everything down. So eventually we kind of just like sheathed it and waited for the 40-minute main climb of the day at mile 90 and had Payson's suggestion. So we just kind of rode tempo up that, and by the top of the main climb, about mile 100, there were 4 of us. It was Ted, King, Payson McKelvin, Jake Brathy, and myself, and we all just worked simpatico. Till 20 to go, I caught a double flat in the rear and had to put in two plugs and some air, and chased back the final 20 miles of the race solo. Almost got up to Jacob. He held me off by like 10 meters at the line, so it was a little bit of a hard finish to a long day. But yeah, it was a beautiful day out. We were having a lot of fun, no bad blood, and yeah, it was a wonderful day.
Do you feel that you were more of a marked person this event since your last one?
I certainly am feeling that, yes. They're not really letting me have a lot of fun on my own anymore. They let Jeff Kabush roll. He's pretty dangerous, but no, they're not letting me really stretch the legs anymore.
And people are calling this the gravel event for roadies. Do you agree?
I'd say at times, yes. There were some pretty spicy descents where you really have to be able to handle your bike with a little drifting action going on. So yeah, a pure roadie could easily get in over their head quickly. But yeah, I mean, a lot of road climbing. So yeah, it's hard to say. I see roadies getting quite bloodied here, but you know, it's any race.
And what's next for you in the future?
I'm really excited to be heading out to Rebecca Rush's Rebecca's Private Idaho coming up in 2 weeks. Awesome. Right after Hotter Than Hell 100 in North Texas. 110 degrees.
Well, good luck to both of those. Congrats,
man.
Here with Tom Danielson, former World Tour cyclist turned coach, and now doing the first SBT gravel race in 2019 in Steamboat Springs. You're a Colorado local. How did the race play out for you, and are you happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first race back in 4 years, so you know, it was a nerve-wracking experience, like just being out there, and it's a real high-level race. To be honest with you, I didn't expect it to be so high level. I mean, the field that we had here was incredible. And just in the first like 50 miles, like I felt like I was out of my league, right? Like on all the downhills, guys were gapping me, and the guys were sprinting over every climb, and they're gapping me. And the whole time I was just like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, you know, if I'm gonna be able to finish. I attacked and somehow got away with Jeff Kabush, and we got a big gap, and then I ended up dropping Jeff on the climb, or he stopped or something. I think at one point, I think it was like 3 minutes or something like that, heading over the last part of the climb, and then in the town I flatted, which I guess I must have flatted sooner than that, and I didn't know. I mean, for me, like I said, today was all about just new experience and just chaos for me, mentally and then physically. And then at that point, the 3 leaders, I got over the top of the climb, but the 3 leaders, they got me on the downhill, and then I was totally checked out. So those guys were Ted and Colin and Payson. They were really, really strong. I would say that this race is on point with Liège-Bastogne-Liège. It's a little bit different. Positioning was really important all day today. You really had to be at the front and attentive. So I'd say that the length
the duration, really similar to Liège Best on Liège. The feeling that you have in your body, just totally numb and exhausted, trying to surge and go with those moves. But the difference is Liège Best on Liège, you generally have a team that controls it. So here, it was kind of like the final of Liège Best on Liège all day long, you know? You know, nothing but respect for these guys. The guys that are here, really high level. It's amazing how strong everybody is. It's incredible.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Steven! Woo! And your winner of the inaugural SBT Gravel, gonna take home a fat check of $5,000. Please welcome up Miss Brody Chapman. Check out that. This is what I came for, she says. Look at that. How about that? Nina, Allison, Sarah, Lauren, and Brody, your women's SBT Gravel podium. Jonathan, Colin, Jacob, Payson, and Ted, your podium for your men's pro group at the inaugural SBT Gravel. Nice job, fellas. Very, very well done.
Okay. After driving from Steamboat Springs to Denver, about 3.5 hours, and then flying from Denver back to Southern California, I'm back in the Veloworthy studios, and man, SBT, let's talk about that and that experience. First of all, it's a first-year event. They've never had an event before, and I've never seen an event with so much hype beforehand going into it, and the amount of backing from the cycling industry before. Usually, when you look at events like DK or BWR or any big event now, they started out as small events, and then as the years went on, they grew. SBT set the bar really high by having big names, big sponsors, and big brands come in from the start and attracting the top riders, which, by the way, conflicted with Gravel Worlds. Gravel Worlds was on the same weekend, forcing some riders to choose between one or the other. But SBT was huge. It seems like there was a pro rider everywhere I turned, and the prize list was over $20,000 over a 140-mile course and almost 10,000 feet of climbing. It was absolutely insane. The thing about SBT is it's at altitude, and I thought that the altitude was really going to favor the locals, the people from Colorado, the people coming from altitude. Meanwhile, us sea level people were down here below trying to just catch our breath once we get up to about, I think it's around 8,000, 9,000 feet. It was a lot. So I really, really like the event. I can't wait till next year. Mark Sekowitz, he's an amazing planner, and you can really see his passion in the ride, in the event, and it really brought the community of Steamboat together. And I think, again, I'm really starting to get this gravel thing, and I think that's why it's really taking off. So an amazing event, and I'll probably be back next year. This trip probably wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for puregravel.com. They're a SoCal-based group, but they are going to be a site and resource for people to go to look for all things gravel, cool information, upcoming events, not to mention giving great deals on things like IRC tires to people who check out their website and subscribe to their newsletter. Check out the link below. But final thoughts, I would say SBT is the glamour event of gravel thus far, and it brought out some heavy hitters, and I can't wait to come back next year to see it. So until next time, this is Brian saying stay Veloworthy.